Gaddafi ruled Libya like any other tyrant. And after years of oppression, a revolution exploded there just over a week ago.
Muammar Gaddafi, the charismatic and controversial leader of Libya, was once a dominant force on the African and global stage. From his bold speeches at the United Nations to his ambitious plans for a united Africa, Gaddafi's vision was as grand as it was polarizing.
Colonel Gaddafi chose not to rebuild this part of his compound after it was hit by an American airstrike in 1986. He said it showed his ability to withstand aggression from the outside world.
But his sudden fall in 2011 wasn't just a result of NATO intervention. Recent revelations indicate a betrayal from within Africa itself. And Russia has now shed light on the identity of the leader who allegedly played a pivotal role in Gaddafi's demise.
The greatest power on earth, the United States, has, or many of its senior officials have declared that they would like to see you finished.
Setting the stage, the rise of Gaddafi. Gaddafi came to power in 1969 after a coup d'etat that overthrew King Idris. He quickly established himself as a revolutionary figure, branding Libya as a socialist state with a unique system of governance known as the Jamahiriya, or the state of the masses. Under his rule, Libya became one of Africa's wealthiest nations, thanks largely to its vast oil reserves. But Gaddafi's ambitions extended far beyond Libya's borders. He envisioned a united Africa, an economic powerhouse that would be free from Western influence. Gaddafi even proposed creating a single African currency backed by gold, challenging the dominance of the US dollar and the euro. However, this vision was seen as a direct threat to Western financial interests.
سوف لن تتمكن أمريكا من ذلك. لقرقنا أمريكاويان هونو قبرابروچانچو يهلم. سينتصر الشعب السوداني. دلن يقداجان. كما انتصر الشعب الإثيوبي. يا إثيوبيا حزب دلن اندتقداجه هلو دلن يقداجان.
The African Union and Gaddafi's influence. As a prominent figure in the African Union, Gaddafi was instrumental in fostering a sense of unity among African nations. He was a strong advocate for the establishment of the African Monetary Fund, the African Central Bank, and the African Investment Bank, institutions designed to reduce Africa's dependency on Western financial systems. For many African leaders, Gaddafi was a hero, a leader who stood up against Western neo-colonialism. However, not everyone was on board with Gaddafi's vision. While he had allies, he also had rivals, leaders who felt threatened by his dominance or who were more aligned with Western powers. The Libyan Civil War, a turning point. In 2011, the Arab Spring swept through the Middle East and North Africa. Bringing with it a wave of protests and demands for democratic reform. Libya was no exception. What began as small protests in Benghazi soon escalated into a full-scale civil war. The conflict quickly drew international attention, and Western powers, under the banner of NATO, launched a military intervention. The NATO campaign was justified under the premise of protecting Libyan civilians, but many believe it was driven by deeper motives, to eliminate a leader who threatened Western financial dominance. However, while NATO played a crucial role in Gaddafi's downfall, new evidence suggests that a betrayal from within Africa also played a significant part. The betrayal, Russia's revelation. Fast forward to the present. In a recent diplomatic leak, Russia has revealed sensitive information about an African leader who allegedly conspired with Western powers against Gaddafi. According to Russian intelligence, this leader, who was once an ally of Gaddafi, provided crucial information to NATO forces, effectively sealing Gaddafi's fate. The identity of this leader has shocked many. Jacob Zuma, the former president of South Africa. Zuma was known for his close ties with Gaddafi. He even visited Libya during the height of the conflict, publicly calling for a peaceful resolution. But behind closed doors, it appears there was a different agenda at play. The hidden deal. What really happened? So, what led Jacob Zuma, a leader from one of Africa's most powerful nations, to betray Gaddafi? According to the Russian documents, the betrayal was rooted in political and economic interests. Western powers, particularly the United States and France, promised Zuma significant financial aid and political support in exchange for his cooperation. It is reported that Zuma played a critical role in convincing other African leaders to withdraw their support for Gaddafi. He allegedly provided NATO with intelligence on Gaddafi's movements and strategies, undermining efforts for a peaceful resolution. This information was pivotal for NATO's military campaign, allowing them to target Gaddafi with precision. Zuma's motivations and the fallout. Jacob Zuma's motivations for betraying Gaddafi appeared to be multifaceted.
That was raised in the first instance by the Arab League in the Security Council. It was not raised by other people. It had been discussed, what do we do? At that time, there was an imminent clash as Gaddafi was making threats.
Domestically, Zuma was facing increasing pressure due to South Africa's economic challenges and his own political scandals. The promise of financial aid from Western powers might have seemed like a lifeline for his administration. However, the fallout from this decision has been significant. South Africa's reputation within the African Union was tarnished, with many leaders privately accusing Zuma of betraying the Pan-African ideals Gaddafi championed. Moreover, Zuma's own political career faced a steep decline, marred by corruption allegations and legal battles that continue to this day. The bigger picture, the legacy of betrayal. The betrayal of Gaddafi didn't just mark the end of a leader, it marked the beginning of a new era of instability in Libya and the wider region. Gaddafi's fall led to a power vacuum that plunged Libya into chaos, with rival factions vying for control. The country became a hotspot for human trafficking, terrorism, and conflict, a far cry from the stability it once enjoyed under Gaddafi's rule. For many in Africa, Gaddafi's vision of a united and independent continent died with him. The African Union has struggled to fill the leadership void he left behind, and the dream of a single African currency remains distant. The unfolding truth. While the full truth behind Gaddafi's betrayal may never be known, Russia's revelations have added a new layer to the narrative. The story of Jacob Zuma's alleged involvement serves as a stark reminder of the complex dynamics at play in international politics, where alliances can shift overnight, and leaders must navigate a web of interests that often conflict with the ideals they once stood for. The legacy of Gaddafi's vision and the betrayal he suffered continue to haunt Africa today, as the continent grapples with the challenges of economic dependence and political instability. And as new details emerge, one thing remains clear. The story of Gaddafi's fall is not just a tale of Western intervention, it's also a story of betrayal from within Africa itself. The tragic end of Muammar Gaddafi is a powerful lesson about the perils of power, betrayal, and the price of challenging the status quo. As more information comes to light, the world will continue to piece together the complex puzzle of how one of Africa's most iconic leaders was brought down, not just by his enemies abroad, but by those he once considered allies at home.